Joining me now is my panel, Bronte Coy from news.com.au and presenter and commentator Calvin Robertson in the UK. Welcome to you both. Now, Bronte, let's keep talking about the Invictus Games. It was another success, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Actually, I'm so glad to be here this week because I've been watching the Invictus Games all week, watching Harry and Meghan's presence there, and it's just so feel good. It's exactly what you just said at the top of the show. This is Harry at his best. This is real Harry. This is what Harry loves. This is him when he's happy, he's carefree, and he's doing exactly what he loves. And the wonderful thing is he's connecting with a community right now that really needs him, that looks up to him, that he loves, and that it's just this incredible symbiotic relationship of inspiration. And this is what he should be doing all the time. Unfortunately, the next one isn't for 2 years. But it's been so nice to just watch him in the spotlight in such an authentic, happy, real way. And it has been so inspirational, as it always is. The Invictus Games is sensational.
Yeah, hard to disagree there. But Calvin, even when the Sussexes do it well, it's like they can't quite help but make it about themselves and, oh my God, that family values comment.
I know, it's sad, isn't it? I'm with Bronte on this. I think this is when Prince Harry is in his element, and we've seen him previously at the Invictus Games and at the Commonwealth Games actually really showing off what it means to be best of British. But of course, Meghan comes in and she starts making comments about family values. I will never criticise anyone for prioritising their family, and I hope that the Sussexes can really lean into this newfound importance of family values and repair the relationships between both of their families, because that would set a really good example, especially if the Prince could reunite with the royal family.
Now, Bronte, speaking of which, it was Prince Harry's birthday on Friday. In fact, he and I are born about 3 weeks apart. We know he went to a restaurant in Dusseldorf on his birthday, and we have the pictures to prove it. But this year, the palace didn't acknowledge his birthday for the first time. Is that right?
So that's right. The policy changed last year after the Queen died and the King ascended the throne. The policy now is that they do birthday tributes to working royals, so it's not a surprise, but I guess it's just one of those official reminders that, again, he's totally out of the fold. Also, happy birthday, Caro. Got to get that in. That's important. Hope you had a great time. Germany is a fantastic place to have a birthday as well. Harry seemed to have a really good time. He had a party with his friends at a beer house with schnitzel and potatoes and everything you want on a birthday, really. Total indulgence.
Yeah, meat and potatoes on a birthday sounds pretty much perfect. And look, as well, he got a rendition of Happy Birthday at the Games. We've got the grab.
Well, I wonder whose birthday it might be. Have you get 15th of September 1984 was when Prince Harry was born.
Calvin, does that make up for it?
I think he responded really well, bless him. It is awkward, isn't it, in a situation like that? Perhaps Meghan would have loved it because all the attention would have been on her. But I will say the Germans are very hospitable, especially at a birthday. One difference being in the UK, when it's your birthday, everyone else buys you a drink. In Germany, when it's your birthday, you are the one who buys everyone else a drink. So it could have been a quite expensive day for Harry.
Definitely. Now, Calvin, I will stay with you. King Charles and Queen Camilla, they're back from vacation and they've appeared in the second season of the reality TV show Welcome to Wrexham. We've got a trailer here.
So the King of England called. Wow.
Calvin, can you please explain to a couple of Aussies what on earth's going on here?
This is wonderful. So Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have taken over this football club. And of course, England is all about football. Football is the essence of our community. We have the pub, we have church, and we have the football stadium. And so they're re-energizing this football community, and there's of course a reality TV set on it. And in fact, the club needs to be promoted to the next league in order to survive, essentially. But it's really nice that the King and Queen have made a trip out there to support the local community by supporting the football team. And the King made a little joke there about Rob McElhenney, who obviously plays Mac in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and the King had just enough trivia to put a little whip in there about Philadelphia always being sunny. I thought that was a nice bit of a sense of humour from our King.
Now, Bronte, Calvin did say the word community, and I think that is probably really important here. Do you think this helps the Royals with that community engagement and that royal relatability?
1000%. I love this show. As a sidebar, I love this show because it's like a real-life Ted Lasso. And the whole point of it is that it's really inspirational. But the main thing is that what we've seen is King Charles and Queen Camilla have struggled a bit to connect with the younger demographics. And a lot of the younger demographics love this show. And they also really love these actors that own the football club. So this is a fantastic way of not only connecting with the community in an authentic way, because it is the kind of thing they should be doing. It doesn't feel like it's just for show. But the impact of it is that they are doing something that younger people care about, and they're showing up on a show that people really love. And so it's really a win-win situation, and I love that they did this.
Yeah, I did too. I always like when they take themselves a little less seriously. Now, Calvin, speaking of seriously, we often talk about how toxic the Sussex brand has become and how it needs a reset. Do you think with Invictus that reset is finally taking shape?
No, I actually think Harry and Meghan need to find new roles for themselves. She obviously hasn't done much acting since they got married, but neither of them have really managed to produce any content or fulfill the commitments that they've made so far in their podcasts, in their Netflix series, in their book deals. They're running out of ideas, and there's only so much they can badmouth the royal family before we all get bored of that. So I think perhaps they need to find a life outside of fame. If they're not working royals, they don't really need to be going to sporting events and that kind of thing and showing themselves off. If they could find something else to do, that would be much better for them and for their family.
Bronte, look, I think that's pretty fair. Look, they were running out of ammo under the old banner. A reset, it really needs to be new direction, doesn't it?
I completely agree with that. I do think the Invictus Games is the best example of Harry leaning into what he's good at, what he's done for so long, what transcends the royal, non-royal role, because that's a community that really embraces him. But yeah, more to the point, we keep hearing about this reset that they're going to do, and the only thing we've really seen of that is that they are separating Brand Sussex into two entities, and that's quite obvious. We've seen that from the way that they've stepped out solo. None of this stuff is ever an accident. It's always very deliberate with public figures, and there's been enough leaks about it to indicate that this is obviously their strategy going forward. But what we don't know is what those next roles are. We're still sort of waiting on that. So it's really hard to say, oh, well, this is their new direction when we haven't seen that happen, because the Invictus Games always acts as a sort of ceasefire between Harry and Meghan and the press, because it's that moment when everyone just focuses on the good part. But now that that's over, the question is still, what is this new direction? What's that look like? So I have to reserve judgment until we see what that's going to be.
I think ceasefire is an excellent word. Now, Calvin, I'm not really an avid Vanity Fair reader, but there was a great piece this week about other royals, not just the British royal family, and their roles outside of hereditary duty. Everyone seems to be taking this approach in one way or another, aren't they?
I'm not much of a Vanity Fair reader myself, but I do collect these prints they used to make back in the early 20th century. Wonderful collection of British history. But I think you're right in that they highlight the role of a monarch, right? And I think a monarch is a lifelong vocation. But the royal family outside of the monarch, they get to opt in or opt out. So they can participate in civil life should they choose to. However, if they remain, they have to maintain that dignified, kind of edified role. So they can work with charities, they can work with sport and stuff like that, but not really the celeb culture. And where we've seen royals engage in celebrity culture, we've seen that it kind of denigrates the office of, or the position of the royal family. So I think it's important that we maintain the mystery of the crown. I'd like to see King Charles and Queen Camilla and the working royals step out of the public life a little bit. Just, the Wrexham thing is a good example of dipping in to where it's relevant, but don't try to be a celebrity because they're not supposed to be. I think there's a difference there.